What's going on, Rams fans? Welcome back to Rams Showcase. Tonight, we are meeting this new rookie class. We've also got the return of some fan quesos. All that and more on this edition of Rams Showcase.
Welcome to Rams Showcase on Sports War Radio.
What is going on, Rams fans? Welcome back to Rams Showcase right here on Sports War Radio. I am your host, Joe Branham, but you can and should call me SheriffJoeBags. Laying down the law for you guys tonight. We got a pretty cool show for you guys. We're meeting this rookie class. What else would we be doing? We got to meet this rookie class, right? And then also, a little bit of news to go into. Nothing too wild, though, as far as news goes. Nothing too nuts. But we'll talk about some of that stuff. And also, I had to do it. I had to bring back the fan quesos just a little bit. It's nothing too crazy, but we do have some fan cases for you guys. Just a couple. We didn't get too big of a response. I think everybody's still quarantined up. Myself, I'm working on my, I don't want to say it's my quarantine beard because my beard doesn't come in very good. But this is what self-neglect looks like, everybody. I got the hair going too. I haven't cut my hair since I've not been working. But, we're getting there. We're getting there. Hopefully I can go back to work soon. And I hope everybody else out there, I hope you guys are doing fine. I hope everybody is safe and healthy. But right now, we got to talk some Rams football. So, like I said, we do have the return of some fan cases. We'll get into those at the very end of the show. No Joe Stradamus for you guys tonight. I think that's... I don't want to say that that's obvious, but what am I supposed to predict, all right? The corona? Am I supposed to predict some Rona future here? Because I don't know how to do that. I don't know what I would do. I don't know because I can't make a prediction. I guess I could say that I'm hopeful that football begins on time. That is the best that I can do for you guys right now. That's all I know. I know that the NFL is working on a contingency plan if the season is not able to begin at a normal time. Right now, it's kind of looking like if we cannot start at a normal time, then we would be looking at about mid-October is one thing that I'm hearing, and no bye weeks, cut out the Pro Bowl, all that stuff, and just play straight through. It'd be kind of interesting. It's a little bit weird that this is all happening the year before we add a game to the season, so I wonder if we could get like a shortened season and kind of sell that to the players as, well, we are doing this because... we're going to have more games in the future, so maybe we can have a light year. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I can't predict the future. I'm also not like a scientist or a person who studies viruses or any of that stuff. I'm just a guy who happens to really like the Rams and got some equipment to talk about it to you guys with. So that's the best I got. And, if I can help in any way, let me know. But I'm not sure how I would help. I can't even help myself. So, let's get into some news. Quarterback Jared Goff and right tackle Rob Havenstein have restructured their contracts. Goff opened up about $7 million and Havenstein just about $1.5 million. Goff's move is really... What happened there was it allowed the Rams to officially sign linebacker Leonard Floyd and defensive tackle A'Shawn Robinson. So that's basically what that money went to. So nothing too wild there. I know a lot of fans were kind of talking about how Goff restructured, because he was pretty open about that in some kind of interview. He did mention that he was open to a restructure if that's what the team needed. Then of course he'd be open to it, and that is what happened. But it was really for those moves right now. So Spotrac has the Rams sitting right now at negative $16 million in cap space. But I want to let you guys know as well that rest assured that the team's going to get under the cap. It's going to be fine. The team absolutely, by the time they need to be, will be under the cap. So there's really no reason to worry about that. There's always a way to get under the cap. You can always kind of wiggle around some money and make it work. So... it's going to be fine. That's my biggest point on that. The Rams are going to eat some money for the next few years, but hopefully they have learned from their mistakes, and hopefully they're not going to overpay players too early. I understand you're going to pay some players early, and I understand some players are going to be overpaid. How about we stop doing both of those at the same time, though? Because that'd be kind of nice, just kind of... Just pay for who we need to. It sucks too because we drafted a rookie running back And my immediate thought was like, all right, let's just keep him for 4 years and then let him go. Don't even try. Don't even mess with it. Just let him go for the 4 years. And that seems to kind of almost be a trend that some teams are going to be following here, is just let him play out their rookie deals and then move on, because it's kind of interesting. I'm not sure how many running backs in the NFL these days are going to last more than like 3 or 4 years. That seems to be kind of the trend. You look at a guy like Saquon Barkley. The way that he's built, I think that he's going to be a pretty durable person and be able to last a long time. And then you have the physical freaks, the Christian McCaffreys of the world, that I think that they're going to be okay too. But we also thought Todd Gurley was going to be fine, even post injury, rookie season, second year, third year. We thought he was going to be fine. We thought that he was going to be like a long-term answer, and then we kind of Steven Jacksoned him in 2018, and what I mean by that is we kind of just ran him into the ground. He was a big part of our offense, and we were not shy about that. There was no secret that Gurley was where the Rams 2018 offense began, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to hold that on for too long. So that's kind of a bummer. But we'll see what happens with Cam. We'll talk about Cam here in a little bit, but we're going to talk about all of the drafted rookies. I'm not going to go. I have a list of the undrafted rookies, but we're not going to go super deep into those guys right now. There's a couple of names that kind of mildly jumped out to me. Not really. Overall, the undrafted signings were kind of like, okay. They came in fast. I was posting, the first one that I saw was one of the quarterbacks, and I posted on it on the Rams Showcase Facebook page, and then I saw 19 more immediately, and I was driving around and stuff. I just didn't get a chance to post it. So I did want to at least pass along that information to you guys here if you guys had not already heard about it. So next up in the news, reports say that the Rams were in on a potential trade for Trent Williams. They were scheduled to move him, or they were planning on moving him to guard, however, which would have been interesting. Noteboom would have been, I guess, the one slid out of that role. Corbett and Noteboom were the ones that handled left guard last year, with Austin Blythe and David Edwards handling the right guard position at different times last year. So that would have been an interesting move, but I'm glad this didn't happen. I'm not stoked that Trent Williams went to the 49ers. It's cool that they lose Joe Staley, but replace him with Trent Williams, that doesn't help the Rams at all. But I'm okay with this move not happening, because I feel like this kind of move, if the Rams would have done this, it would have been one of those feelings of like, guys, didn't we just go through this? Didn't we just bring in a bunch of guys and overpay them? And then who's here now? You know what I mean? Like, we don't have Corey Littleton anymore. Of course, he was homegrown talent, but Dante Fowler's gone, and Ndamukong Suh's gone. Now Brandon Cooks is gone. Todd Gurley's gone. So I feel like we're not necessarily learning our lesson based on the fact that the Rams were even in on Trent Williams. The fact that they were even in those conversations, it shows that we're not necessarily learning that lesson. But hey, it didn't happen. And I don't care who Trent Williams is. You're not blocking Aaron Donald, okay, who happens to be a Pitt graduation now, graduated with a degree in communications. I think that happened today. Was that today, or was it yesterday? I don't know who I'm asking. There's nobody else here. I'm alone forever. Let's see here. I'm okay with this not happening. That's what I was talking about with the Trent Williams thing. We have taken the free agency path before, and it did get us to the Super Bowl. I'll give you that. I'll granted that is absolutely information that is real. The Rams went heavy in free agency. They went big. They won the offseason and went to the Super Bowl. It didn't go further than that, unfortunately. Only the 3 points in the Super Bowl, which kind of bums me out. But hey, you know what? It's okay to me that this did not happen. That's my main point with all of this, is that Trent Williams not being an LA Ram is totally fine with me. I actually... this is not even in my notes. I'm going to talk about it anyway, though. The Rams' offensive line. The Rams didn't hit offensive line in the draft. And I know there's an article out about Les Snead apparently talking about why the Rams did not go after the offensive line in the draft. And I didn't read this article, but I'm going to give you guys my opinion anyway. And that opinion is the Rams' offensive line is not nearly as bad as most of us are thinking that it is. I think that if you look at Andrew Whitworth, Austin Corbett, Joseph Noteboom, Brian Allen, Austin Blythe, David Edwards, Rob Havenstein, Bobby Evans, I think that those are all potential starters. And that's obviously more than 5 dudes. So I think we're going to be okay, honestly. I actually did have this in my notes. Look at that. I'm bouncing around. I apparently forgot what I wrote down. But yeah, I don't think that the offensive line is nearly as bad as people think. That I do like bringing in Ankrum. I think that he's actually kind of an underrated player, and especially with where the Rams got him, I think that he can potentially make an impact. I don't see him playing this year, though, because of the names that I just mentioned. I think we have those, 8 guys who can be starters. If I had to guess what I think that the starting line will be, I would say from left to right, it's going to be Witt, Noteboom, Blythe, Edwards, and Evans. Closer to what it was at the end of the year, obviously Corbett instead, or Noteboom instead of Corbett, excuse me. So I think that's really the only mix-up from what we had late season, where the Rams offensive line was actually playing really well. They weren't having issues especially as much as people think. Jared, the least amount of sacks given up, but our offensive line is trash. I just don't get it. I don't understand where this information is coming from. Yeah, I get it. Early in the offseason, or in the 2019 season, excuse me, Havenstein wasn't playing the best. Brian Allen wasn't playing the best. Austin Blythe is a better center than he is a guard, and he was playing at right guard. So, yeah, from center to the right, I think we kind of didn't have the dopest offensive line early on, but an unfortunate situation. We had some injuries, but fortunately, those guys that came in were playing great. Noteboom goes down. We bring in Corbett, who was a 33rd overall pick just a couple years back, and he's in there playing awesome. And then, then Brian Allen goes down. Blythe scoots over to center, where he's better at center than he is a guard. And I think that the money we gave him, I think kind of almost tells everybody that he's going to be the starter for at the center position. And then Edwards coming in at right guard played well. Bobby Evans really impressed me. I really like Bobby Evans on the right side. So I'm not that worried. And I know some people were saying that, they're like, oh, well, what about when Witt retires? First of all, he just signed a 3-year deal. I don't think he plays out the whole 3 years, but I think between Noteboom, Evans, and Edwards, we can use one of those guys in that position. I don't think that Ankrum, the rookie, is going to be necessarily an NFL tackle. I don't think he has that length, but especially with some of these defensive ends in the NFL now, holy moly, these guys are getting good. These edge rushers are getting insane, and their athleticism is off the charts. Their defensive linemen are no longer like these chubby dudes who can't run. They are physical freaks that happen to be more massive than anybody else, so that's why they're playing defensive line sometimes. So, yeah, that's how I feel about the offensive line, guys. Let's just relax on it a little bit. I think it's going to be okay. Next up in some news, Les Snead, he lost his internet for about 30 minutes, about 10 picks before the Rams were up. They were at about 42. Rams picked at 52. Snead's internet went down for about 30 minutes. Did come back in time, but that's about the only hiccup that I heard about of the entire draft, not just Rams related. The clock didn't need to stop at all. I will say, on this draft, I think that the user experience or the viewer experience was way better in this draft than in previous years. Way better. We weren't falling behind on picks. You knew exactly who was on the clock, who they were taking, who's up next. They covered trades well. I mean, there weren't that many trades, but they covered trades well. They just kept moving. They kept flowing. The only complaint that I have is ESPN reaching for these stories of just like the worst things possible. The worst things ever. The ESPN's reaching for those stories. And I do understand guys like Jerry Jeudy, I think it was, came out and said, he's like, I have no problem with that information coming out. I would, though. All right. If I was getting drafted, I'm not getting drafted anytime soon. But if I were to get drafted and they started saying stuff about my past, I'd be like, guys, like, relax on that. Like, I don't, and maybe it's me. I know there are some people that feel this way, and you're allowed to disagree with me. That's totally fine. But I also, what happens in these guys' personal life is not my business. I don't know if everybody feels that way, but it's not any of my business what these guys do, and especially what their families do. That's kind of a little bit extreme. That was my only complaint about the draft, though, is that ESPN, I think some of those stories, it's like, guys, not appropriate. Like, that's not some information the world needs to know about. Like, just keep that to yourselves. Ooh, this is a good one. The LA Rams finally updated their app on Apple and on Android. You can go get the updated app. And this was frustrating me for sure. Being person who does internet stuff I was getting it was like you open the app and you just see Tavon Austin, and then you look at like for backgrounds and there's like James Laurinaitis and Sam Bradford. It's like sitting there like, who's running this? Nobody apparently, but they have updated. It's all good now. New colors, new logos, new all that stuff. Which is it looks pretty fresh. I'll be honest with you guys, it looks pretty nice. It looks like a new operating system, but it is similar to some of the other teams' operating systems as far as their apps go. I think it's just kind of like a template, and you just toss in your logos and news. That's about it. Pretty simple stuff. Before we talk about these rookies, I wanted to mention I'm pretty active on social media. I think everybody. Most of you guys kind of know that I'm pretty active on social media. So more so my personal pages. I don't like to take the Ram Showcase pages and just blow you guys up for no reason. I like to take those posts and actually have something to say to you guys. I don't want to just post to post, which I think a lot of places do. But that's for news. But I'm pretty active, and it's cool to see the Rams official pages, welcoming these rookies to LA and stuff. I think that's awesome. What I don't think is awesome is that just because a player you wanted is not who the Rams got, does not mean you should take it out on these kids. Like, Cam Akers gets drafted, and everybody that wanted J.K. Dobbins is now pissed at Cam Akers? That seems a little bit ridiculous to me. Can't we just root for this kid? If any of you rookies are listening to me, I want to let you know right now, not all Rams fans are like that, okay? Some of us were just waiting to see who we were going to support. We weren't hoping for one specific guy. We were just waiting to see who came in and who is now our guy that we root for. Cam Akers, let's go, man. Yeah, I wanted Dobbins. That was when the Rams were on the clock. I was sitting there like, come on, JK. Come on, I want Dobbins. It didn't happen, but let's go Cam. I don't see what the problem is. Why do we have to bash Cam because you wanted Dobbins? That just doesn't make any sense to me. So Cam, if you can hear me, any of you guys, if you can hear me, not all of us are like that, all right? And we're hoping that you do awesome. We're excited to have you here in LA, and let's win some ball games, all right? Let's talk about this though. First of all, let's get some tunes on. Let's get something going here. We'll go a little quieter than that. We don't need to go obnoxious here. That's that started a little nuts. I didn't mean to scare you guys. If I did, it scared me. I don't know if it's loud for. I need to change the settings because it's way louder in my head than it is to you guys. But let's go ahead and look at these guys. Let me first make sure that we got the right people up. So Cam Akers. Cam Akers was the first pick of this class for the Rams. 52 overall, running back out of Mississippi. He's the youngest current Ram officially. He will be 21 years old on June 22nd. So Cam, I don't know about you guys. I hope Cam wears number 30. I'm all for it. I hope Cam Akers wears number 30. I think it's time to wash our hands. Wash our hands of the girly. All right? He's moved on. Clearly, he's moved on. He don't care about us at all. I'll tell you that much. And I think, going from number 3 to 30 is what Gurley did, going from college to the Rams. And I think we need to see Cam Akers do the same thing. Some information on Cam. I'm not going too crazy here, guys. I'm not going insane deep on these guys, but we'll talk about them for sure. So, first of all, 52 overall. Second team All-ACC in 2019, 1,144 rushing yards, 14 rushing touchdowns. Cam Akers played quarterback in high school. So maybe some trick plays. Sean, I'm looking at you, man. Let's cook it up. Let's cook up some trick plays. Reason to be excited about Cam Akers. I'm going to do a reason to be excited and a reason to be cautious on all of these guys. I of course, went through and I watched not highlights. Highlights, of course. I mean, I could put together my own highlights and make myself look amazing, but I go back and watch a couple of games. I try to look at some bad games, look at some good games, but we'll do a reason to be excited, a reason to be cautious on every single one of these guys. Reason to be excited for Cam Akers. He played behind a very poor offensive line in college and could benefit greatly from Sean McVay's zone running scheme, which is, of course, that's a trend, that's a topic that is being talked about. I'm not blowing any minds there. I'm not digging deep into the brain to come up with that analysis. That's pretty standard stuff. Cam Akers his style seems to fit the zone running scheme, and he had a bad offensive line in college, so hopefully that can change, and McVay can get this guy rolling. Let's see here. Reason to be cautious: ball security. Ball security is going to be a problem for this kid. Hopefully he can kind of work on that when we can have practice, when we can have contact. Hopefully that's something that is being worked on a lot, and he is pretty susceptible to the big hit, so hopefully no injuries are happening, but we can't do much about that right now. First we need to be able to hit in order to see the big hits, so that's it for Cam Akers. I'm excited. I think Cam will come in. I think he's we haven't seen a lot of rookies play under Sean McVay. I think Cam is going to be one that we see a decent amount in his rookie season. Going over to 57 overall, Van Jefferson out of Tennessee, son of former NFL wide receiver, current coach with the New York Jets, Sean Jefferson. I do not remember watching Sean Jefferson play. I did get a text message from my dad saying that he remembers watching Sean Jefferson play, so the generation there happens where my dad gets to watch Sean Jefferson play football, and I get to watch Van Jefferson play football for the LA Rams. Played all 3 wide receiver spots in college, and we hear a lot of good things about this kid, to be completely honest. Reason to be excited: competitiveness. He is mad competitive and exceptional route runner. Reason to be cautious: overall lack of production in college. Not flashy stats. I've seen a lot of places kind of try to sell that he's got flashy stats. It's not flashy at all. There's just no flashy stats there. The production, I mean, he's solid, but overall, I mean, he didn't light anything up, and so that's kind of I don't want to say a cause for concern, but I think he's a very talented player. But we'll kind of see what translates. His comps, he was being compared to Cooper Kupp. That's bold. That's bold, because I'm sitting here, I'm still saying that I think we're going to look back on Cooper Kupp and say that he was one of the best wide receivers the Rams ever had, if not the best. We'll see if that continues. 84 overall, linebacker Terrell Lewis out of Bama. He's from Washington, D.C., second team All-ACC in 2019, 11.5 tackles for loss, 6 sacks in 11 games, had just 3 starts. Used to be Terrell Hall. That used to be his name. Terrell Lewis now. And I tried to find out why he changed his name. Couldn't find it. Actually, the information that I did find was that it's unclear why he changed his name. So, Terrell Hall, now Terrell Lewis, 84th overall pick. Reason to be excited: he had a first-round pass rush grade. This guy is mad talented. And if he was healthy, he was looking at a first-round selection. So 84 overall for a guy that has first-round talent, not too bad. But reason to be cautious is just that: history of injuries. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have watched a lot more football than I have, simply because of my age. I was born in 1991. But from what I've seen in my time covering the Rams and covering football is when you get hurt in college, you tend to get hurt in the pros. I mean, that seems pretty standard. That seems very regular. So that's my concern. Overall, though, I think Terrell Lewis, I think he could have a pretty strong impact. I would put him more of like almost give him that redshirt year, kind of like the Rams did with Ogbonnaya Okoronkwo, who could be a starter this year. So I think that's kind of the role that we'll see him in. Maybe we won't see him a lot this first year, but maybe give him that kind of redshirt style, That's what I'm kind of picking that for Lewis here. Another Terrell Burgess out of California. From California. He played his football at Utah, but he is born in California. 14-game starter last year. Honorable mention all-conference, so that's better than not being mentioned at all, I guess. He was a cornerback converted to a safety, and many see Burgess as a nickel back. So that could be the reason that the Rams went for Burgess, is because NRC is now a Philadelphia Eagle. Nickel Roby-Coleman, the guy that helped us get to the Super Bowl. Thanks, man. He's a Philadelphia Eagle, so the Rams were looking for a nickelback. A lot of people looking at David Long Jr. in that slot, but hey, if a rookie can do it, why not? Reason to be excited about Burgess. He's mentally he's NFL ready. He's a very smart football player. He sees the field really well. Preparation and attitude are praised by teammates, coaches, classmates. This attitude is praised a lot with this kid and his preparation. He seems NFL ready mentally, absolutely. Reason to be cautious: he's undersized and only has one season as a starter, so that could bite him. You know what I mean? But overall, I think if he can get in the right position, I mean that's a big part of it, is just being in the right spot at the right time. Now, the Rams' next pick after that, 136 overall, was tight end Bryson Hopkins. This was a surprising pick to a lot of people. I was surprised by this pick. He was born in Tennessee, 16 starts in his college career. AP All-American, Big Ten tight end of the year last year, first team All-Conference. So definitely a decorated tight end in 2019. Reason to be excited: Rams coaches really seem to like this kid. And a lot of people are saying that Higbee is his comp. That Tyler Higbee and Bryson Hopkins, that's the combo there. This pick, immediately, my very first thought, and I know a lot of people's first thought, was Everett's gone. We'll see what happens. We'll, of course, keep you guys up to date if something does happen with Gerald Everett. But that was my very first thought when Bryson Hopkins got drafted, that the Rams are moving on from Gerald Everett. They don't want to pay him. This is going to be his final year under that rookie deal, I believe. So we're not going to keep him around, is my guess. I can't confirm that for you guys right now, but that would be my guess, is that we see Everett leave. But Bryson Hopkins looking real good. Coach is really, really high on him, which is always a good sign. You want your coaches to be like looking at one of your players thinking like, this guy's awesome. He's going to do some stuff. Reason to be cautious: average hands. That's definitely struggles with drops and has a hard time creating separation against man. So those are coachable things. It's not something that's totally locked in, but you guys know how I feel about stone hands, man. I saw somebody say that he's just another Hemingway. I don't think that that's true. Hemingway had bricks for hands. This guy can at least catch decent, but his hands are average. Hemingway had below average hands. Dude should have been a different position, honestly. Should have been like a linebacker, but man defense, he's just got to create that separation as well. So let's see here. Next up, 199, that famous Tom Brady slot. Safety Jordan Fuller was born in New Jersey. He was a 2-year captain over there at Ohio State. All Big Ten, New Jersey Gatorade Player of the Year in 2015 as a high schooler. Plenty of starts in college. This guy has no shortage of playing time when it comes to college. Reason to be excited about Fuller: he's tough and he's not afraid to hit. He's really strong against tight ends. So, I mean, you look at the Rams division. I mean, one of the best tight ends in the NFL is in the division with George Kittle out in San Fran, the Santa Clara Niners, boasting I would say he's so sick, guys. I hate it. I hate to compliment a 49ers player, but George Kittle's, that guy's a monster. I would love him on the Rams, but reason to be cautious about Jordan Fuller would be he lacks instincts, could impact a little bit better on tackles. He kind of lets the hitter or the tackle come to him. And in the NFL, I mean, good luck letting a guy like Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley come to you and try to tackle him. You got to put your head down, man, and you got to attack on those tackles. So Jordan Fuller, this is an interesting one. A lot of people saying that Fuller is going to be just a backup. But we'll see. I'm not ready to put anybody in a box yet until I see him play in the NFL. That's why I'm giving you guys just the upsides and downsides. I'm not going to say that these guys are awesome, these guys are starters, these guys are trash. I'm not saying any of that stuff. We got to see these kids play first. Speaking of playing and potentially starting, 234 overall, the Rams selected linebacker Clay Johnston, who was born in Texas. He is the son of an NFL strength coach, Kent Johnston. He stacks stats when he's healthy. This guy, he's a stat machine when he is on the field. Smart kid, infectious excitement, honestly. He's already one of my favorite players, simply based on his attitude, man. He's a fun guy. I'm going to try to get him on the show. We'll see what happens. I haven't reached out yet, but we're going to try. I would like to talk to Clay. Reason to be excited about Clay: very smart kid, Tough linebacker, not afraid to get into the action. Not afraid to get into the action at all. Somebody else is making the tackle, he'll come in and help. This kid's gonna be fun to watch. I'm really excited about to watch Johnston play. Reason to be cautious: extensive injury history. Hurt almost every year, even going back to high school. Definitely injury problems. But part of that's his style. Part of that's his play style. Kid's kind of reckless with his body. He sacrifices the body, and he actually mentioned one of the things he said was that he'll play until his body breaks. So we're getting somewhere. But yeah, Clay Johnston. I like this pick a lot. Watching his interview, watching him do his little FaceTime and stuff. He gets so excited he forgets what the questions are and stuff. I love seeing that. That's really cool stuff. So. The next pick was a little bit surprising. 248 overall, the Rams went with kicker Sam Sloman. Was born in Georgia. He got better every year in college, so that's something. 86.7% kicking in his senior season, 4 of 5 from plus 50. Greg Zuerlein last year, I mentioned that 86.7 for Sam in college last year. Last year, Greg Zuerlein, the one that we're all super sad is gone, 72% last year. Of course, 4 of 5 from more than 50 last year for Sam, but was 0 of 5 entering his senior season. So in his career, just 4 of 10 from plus 50. Reason to be excited: good leg strength. Has never had a block, never been blocked. We can't even say that about Hecker anymore, which kind of bums me out. Reason to be cautious: 6 kickoffs went out of bounds in 2019. So yes, this is an interesting pick. For 248 overall, I mean, it's not super high risk or anything, but I'm not totally convinced yet that this guy's going to make the squad over a guy like Harilahu, who the Rams signed earlier. So we'll kind of see what happens there, but I'm not sure his consistency is necessarily on par enough to get me excited about this draft pick. But you know what? If he makes the squad, then let's go Sam, man. Let's go Sam. 250 overall, just 2 picks later, the Rams drafted their only offensive line of this class, which was guard Tremaine Ankrum. Was born in Georgia, first team All-ACC, 30 starts over the last 2 seasons. Reason to be excited about Ankrum: great lateral movement, which is, I think, perfect for the zone blocking scheme in McVay's offense. This is something that I mentioned already with Cam Akers. This guy fits that perfect, and if the Rams didn't already have guys who I think can play guard, I would say that Ankrum could be a day 1 starter. So we'll see what happens with training camp and all that stuff, and we'll go into preseason. So maybe if there's some injuries or something, we'll get to see Ankrum play. I am excited to see him in preseason, but overall, I think that this guy could stick around for a little while. Right now, it's a depth pick, but hopefully in some time we can see this guy play. But reason to be cautious: his size is not ideal for an NFL tackle. Kind of the shorter arms. Some of those guys, I'm trying. Like, you look at some edge rushers, even some of the guys that the Rams have had in just the past year or so. Dante Fowler, even guys like Khalil Mack. Obviously, these are really talented players, but they're just going to get into his chest. And once you're in the offensive lineman's chest, there's not a whole lot of blocking going on. So that's my issue here. And also the fact that he would get moved to guard, but doesn't have experience at guard. He's only played tackle. So I think he's an underrated player, but we'll kind of have to see how he develops going into the season. So those are your drafted rookies. Nothing too nuts there. Those are our guys. And you know what? Some of you guys are mad that we didn't sign certain guys that you wanted specifically. But first of all, get over yourself. All right, we're not the pros here. We're not the people that get paid to do scout. I'm not a scout. I'm very open about that I'm not a scout. And how about we let these guys play before we either crown or condemn them? That's my biggest point. Let's let these guys play. Let's stop grading this draft, because it just happened and these guys haven't played on an NFL field yet. What was that? I think it was the day of the draft. We went back and there was only a couple of us on the live, but we did some mild grading of some of the Rams draft class of the old ones. We started like 2010 back when the Rams drafted Bradford. I don't know, spoiler alert, the grades weren't that great, especially pre-Snead. There's apparently something crazy going on. I don't know if you guys can hear the sirens, but we're going to try to drown those out. So, yeah, we're going to talk about the Rams' undrafted free agents. Yeah, there's bananas going on right now. I'm getting a lot of sirens and stuff, but I'm sure everything's fine. Let's talk about these undrafted rookies, though. Rams brought in 20 of them, and they had the roster space for it. The Rams were sitting at like one of the smallest rosters for a little bit. Quarterback Josh Love out of San Jose State. Wide receiver Isaac Winston out of Washington State. I'm probably going to mess up at least 3 of these names, just so you guys know. Wide receiver Ernest Edwards out of Maine. Defensive tackle Michael Hocht out of Brown. Wide receiver Brandon Polk out of James Madison. Defensive lineman Eric Banks out of UT San Antonio. Offensive lineman Cole Cabral out of Arizona State. I know I've ruined that one. I'm so sorry. I apologize especially if you can hear me, man. I am sorry. But once I hear it the first time officially, then I'm good. If I hear you say it, I'll nail it. I promise. Running back James Gilbert out of Kansas State. Defensive back Juju Hughes out of Fresno State. Wide receiver Tristan Jackson out of Syracuse. Running back Xavier Jones out of SMU. Wide receiver J.J. Koski out of Cal Poly. And 2 cornerbacks. We have Dan Lake out of BYU and Tyreek McGee out of Georgia. Quarterback Bryce Perkins out of Virginia. Linebacker Greg Reeves out of Southern Florida. Defensive lineman Sam Reener out of Minnesota. Linebacker Christian Roseboom from South Dakota. And just the 2 more. Corner Levante Taylor out of Florida State, or Levanta Taylor, sorry. And defensive lineman Jonah Williams out of Weber State. Those are your undrafted rookies. I'm not sure if I see more than like 3 of these guys making the roster. I think it's obviously very possible. Troy Reeder was an undrafted rookie, and he played obviously quite a bit. So we'll kind of see what happens there. But those are your guys. Not a whole lot of names necessarily jump out to me. Eric Banks is a name that jumps out to me, and so is Josh Love. Everybody else, though, Greg Reeves, that one jumps out a little bit. But I also, you guys know, I don't do a whole lot of pre-draft prep. Part of that is because I don't like to go and research 300 guys when the Rams are going to get like 6 of them. And then, and I'll be honest, there's some other Rams websites and podcasts that are just better at draft coverage than I am. And I'll totally give them that credit. They are better at draft coverage than me. This is not my wheelhouse here. I think in season I'm stronger, but I got to give credit where credit's due. Some of these guys, I'm not naming names, obviously. This is Rams Showcase, and I'm Sheriff JoeBags. I'm not going to throw out, I'm not going to give credit, that much credit. I will give a little bit, though. But yeah, I think in season I'm the spot to be, but do you guys agree? I didn't confirm that. That's just my own opinions. Let's take a look at some fan quesos, guys. We'll keep this music going. We're almost done here. And let's see here. This first one comes from Tyler. Out of the rookies, who do you project as week 1 starters? I'm not sure we see any of these rookies become day 1 starters. And that's simply because the Rams entered the draft without necessarily needing any starters. Of course, there were some positions that the Rams could have improved, but overall starters, I'm not sure if the Rams necessarily needed that. So running back Cam Akers, he absolutely has potential to be a day 1 starter, 100%, because Darrell Henderson is a guy a lot of us like. I'm a big fan. I know a lot of Rams fans are fans of Darrell Henderson. I think that going Cam Akers 52 overall, I think that shows a little bit of lack of trust, I guess, in Henderson. So we'll kind of see what happens there. But he's obviously one. I would say Van Jefferson is going to be included. He's going to play, but I'm not sure he would start. I don't think Terrell Lewis starts. I don't think Terrell Burgess starts. I don't think Bryson Hopkins starts. Jordan Fuller, Clay Johnston, no. Sam Sloman, only if he wins the battle, and Tremaine Ankrum, no. So I don't think that the Rams necessarily have any day 1 starters outside of Cam Akers in this draft class. But at the same time, we know under McVay, we have not necessarily gone. We kind of redshirted almost everybody. Of course, you do have the couple guys that have played their rookie seasons. Last year, Rapp played, obviously. Cup played a lot in his rookie season. But for the most part, it's kind of just not been a thing. So I think that's pretty similar. And again, you look at the positions. Cam Akers, they're running back. Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown are there. Van Jefferson is already going to be behind Woods, Kupp, and Reynolds. Terrell Lewis, I mean, I still think Leonard Floyd and Obo, I would put Ebukam ahead of him. So there's that. We definitely didn't need a safety for Terrell Burgess, but of course if he does switch to nickel, then he could be at that kind of starting position. Bryson Hopkins isn't going to start over Higbee or Everett at this time. Jordan Fuller's not going to start over Rapper Johnson. Clay Johnston's not going to... I don't think Clay Johnson would start over Reeder or Kaiser. And then Tremaine Ankrum at guard, I don't think that he would start over Corbett, Edwards, or Nopum. So no, I don't think we necessarily had any starters from that one. Thank you for your question, though, Tyler. This one comes from MJ. Do you see Johnston making the team? Love his intensity, and I could see him as a leader on the field if he progresses enough. I like Johnston's attitude. I love his attitude. Unfortunately, it's more than that. So we're going to need to see kind of what happens, I guess. But I love his attitude. If he can stay healthy, then I feel pretty strong about Johnston. But do I see him making the team? I see him making the team. Linebacker was kind of thin. We could have used some depth there. So I think because of that, I think that Johnston makes the team. Let's see here. Another one from MJ. We only got a couple here, guys. Nothing too nuts. If you could go back and change one pick, which one? And who would you get instead? Okay, first of all, when we were on the clock at 52, I wanted Dobbins. Got Akers. I was okay with that one. That one was like, okay, well, I wanted Dobbins, but Akers is cool. At 57, I wanted Mims. Got Jefferson. I was cool with that one. And that was about it. Like, I wanted Mims, but I wouldn't say that I would change any of the picks. Mainly because, like, do you remember when the Rams drafted Noteboom and everybody lost their minds? And he turned out to be fine. And, like, everybody's like, Cooper Kupp? What? Out of that small school? No. And John Johnson? Oh, I didn't even hear about John Johnson pre-draft, so he's not very good. That's not true. He's one of the better safeties in the NFL now. So, no, I'm not a talent scout, and I really, really trust these guys. But first of all, what happens if you don't? I've seen a lot of people being like, I trust what the scouts and what Leslie. Okay, but if you don't, they're still going to pick the same guys. It doesn't matter. Right? I don't know. Somebody, what was the comment? I'm trying to think. Somebody said something about like they better not screw up this pick, or else what? You're just not going to be a fan anymore. So just watch and relax, okay? Rein it in, couch GMs. Everybody needs to chill. I really feel that way. It's not our job to tell these guys how to do their job. I'm going to start doing that to you guys. I don't know where any of you guys work. I'm going to start doing it to you guys, though. Like, if you don't give back a 10 instead of 2 5s, man, I'm not going to come back. Because that's how it sounds. Next question here. Tyler wants to know, who gets the 3rd spot in wide receivers, Jefferson or your boy? And by that, he means Josh Reynolds, who is now number 11, by the way. Going back to his old college number. I'm going to say Reynolds, but I also think that I don't think it's a 1, 2, 3 situation. Like, I don't think it's like an XYZ kind of situation. I think it's just we've got guys who are really good wide receivers. Jefferson's played all over the place. Kupp can play all over the place. Woods can play outside or inside. I think it's just all about packages, and I think we're just going to put some people together. But if you're asking me who I think is going to see the field more, Jefferson or Reynolds, I'm going to go with Reynolds. I think that just makes sense. McVay, he's been positive on Reynolds, and as long as McVay's positive on somebody, I'm good. I still trust McVay. I think McVay's fine. I think we kind of backed ourselves a little bit into a corner cap-wise and stuff, so we're going to eat it for a couple of years, but overall, I think we're fine. But yeah, I think Reynolds really plays a lot more. Out of the 20 UDFAs, who stays? I think really just the guys that I named. I could see. I would say if I had to pick a quarterback that stuck around between Bryce Perkins and Josh Love, I'd go Love. Maybe a wide receiver or two. Maybe one of those guys can can make an impact and kind of stick around. The Rams obviously lost JoJo Natson, so I don't know if necessarily Simba Webster's just locked in at kicking punt returner, but maybe there's somebody there in this group that can stick around. Other than that, Eric Banks kind of jumps out to me a little bit, but not a whole lot of guys honestly jump out to me as far as our UDFAs. But you never know, because Troy Reeder didn't jump out to me, and he ended up starting a bunch of games. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's okay. It's okay to just wait and see what happens, guys. I promise it's going to be okay if you just wait and just check it out. I know that there's like no sports going on and we're trying to just come up with topics here. But, I mean, I'm not... You guys know what I'm saying. You might not. I don't... Well, we're moving on anyway. This one comes from David. Who shares most carries? Henderson/Brown or Henderson/Akers? I'm going with an option you didn't give me. I'm going Akers-Brown. I think that is the combo. I think Akers and Brown is the combo. Not Henderson and Brown, not Henderson and Akers. I think it's Brown and Akers. I think overall Brown is like the day one starter. I think he's the first running back we see. But I think Henderson gets in there a little bit, but I think Akers probably gets in a little bit more. So yeah, I think Akers Brown is the I think that's the tandem. I really do. Next question here from David. 3 kickers, that's all it says. And he yelled it. 3 kickers! First of all, yeah, 3 kickers. That's not that big of a deal. The Rams did this when Greg Zuerlein got hurt. They brought in 3 guys. Cairo Santos is the one that made the team. We got to see him in Denver. That cold, snowy day in Denver. Week 6, 2018. It's October 11th, I believe. Good times. Oh, man, what good times that was. If I met you that day, just know I will never forget you. That was the best day ever. I had so much fun. Snowing so hard all morning. I was outside. I showed up at the tailgate at like 9 a.m. I left at about 7 p.m. I had to wait for the Rams buses to leave, obviously. We don't get the Rams in Colorado very often, except for that was the first time they were here that year. That was pretty cool, because they actually practiced in my hometown, Colorado Springs. Yeah. At the Air Force Academy. That was really cool. Really cool. It didn't really matter because I didn't run into anybody except for Miles Simmons. I convinced Miles Simmons to stop by my work, which was cool. But yeah, 3 kickers, man. I don't really think that's that big of a deal. We lost Greg Zuerlein, who's the 2nd all-time leading scorer in Rams history. So we kind of need something there, man. We'll just let him battle it out. This last one comes from Cody. How good is Ramsey? Is he still a top 2 cornerback in our scheme? Or is it a lot of hype? First of all, Ramsey played amazing for the Rams last year. He played great. A lot of people are going to say that he didn't get the stats or anything like that. Well, no, he didn't get the stats because no one was throwing his way. He was covering his guy. So I'm not super worried about it. I think Ramsey's going to be awesome. I don't know if the Rams are going to extend him this offseason or not. I'm very confused about that. We'll see what happens. If they do, I think it'll be a true extension where it won't impact the 2020 cap, but there'll be some interesting contracts given out with all this COVID stuff going on. Brovid-19, or Blovid-19, as I have heard some people refer to it as. I've been calling friends Brovid-19. Not very classy, but you know, I'm trying to stay positive, right? Leave me alone. I got my own methods. That does it for the fan quesos, though. And that is going to do it for me. Make sure you guys follow everywhere. First of all, you can follow all over the place. All your favorite social media, including TikTok. Ram Showcase has a TikTok. I'll put another one up today. There's only been one up, and it's pretty old now. So, because I hate it. I'll be honest with you guys. I hate TikTok with my entire heart. But I'm just gonna power through it. I'll give it like another 3 months. And if I still hate it, then I'll delete it. But you never know. I'm trying to reach that younger audience. I need those Gen Zers, you know? There's too many millennials listening to me. I'm a millennial. I'm just complaining all the time. That's all that happens. I'm one of those weird ones with work ethic, though. Not a lot of us. That's going to do it for me, though. Oh, yeah, I forgot to shout out my social media. At RamsShowcase. On Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everywhere else. And you can follow me at SheriffJoeBags on Instagram and Twitter, everywhere else. Facebook as well. There's pages there you can follow. The TikTok. to TikTok. If you guys are young, you're like, if I have any 14-year-olds listening to me, follow the Rams Showcase on TikTok. If for everybody else, don't, because it's not worth it. It's not worth it to get a TikTok just to watch my short 15-second videos. It's not worth it. You can just watch the whole thing. It's better. It's better that way. That is going to do it for me. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. This has been Rams Showcase on Sports War Radio. For those of you that aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you that are Rams fans, thank you guys so much for listening, and you guys have a great night.